Hello, I am Dr. V. It is December. Happy December, everyone. I wanted to come on today to talk about the shift that we're making to focus on helping people to understand community impact investing. This project hits all the marks when it comes to understanding how we can have community ownership in our downtown historic districts, and also how we can leverage this business model to move to other forgotten spaces that deserve revitalization and economic stimulation. This is not a new project, but it is for many of us who are independent private investors an opportunity to compete, to have equity in the game and opportunity in the game. And so I want to talk through what this can look like for all of us when we come together and create a bigger impact in our communities and something that can be replicated. So many of you all are aware that the new LaVilla is the opportunity that we're speaking of specifically for here in Jacksonville. This is a historic landmark. I had it historically landmarked in 2022, the year after we purchased it. And we're reimagining this former Will Hotel in LaVilla and retail property to bring it back as a true mixed-use commercial space, combining business, office, lodging, and event facilities. So a truly mixed-use, mixed-purpose building with operations sitting squarely inside of this historic landmark. So we're transforming this hotel into something that will help drive jobs and create economic equity, but also increase the returns on individuals who are impact investors in this project. So the opportunity here is for you to support the revitalization of this historic owned property, Black-owned property, and to convert it into an entrepreneurship hub that will create this new, bring back this new energy, this new business center, this new downtown destination back to Jacksonville. It's already happening around us. So now we just want to make sure that we're not excluded, we're included, and we can drive and make the decisions that we want in our particular project and investment. Of course, we're also preserving the cultural legacy of LaVilla, which was founded in 1866 by former Union soldiers, who I like to call Buffalo Soldiers. So impact investing, it refers to any type of investment that generates a positive, measurable social and environmental impact, plus a financial return for the investors. Typically, what we've seen when it comes to impact investing is that this is focused on areas that are underserved, that need an infusion of cash and investment. And for many of them, they were once, because many of them are adjacent to the current downtown districts. So these districts were and are centrally located to major thoroughfares, adjacent commercial centers, so that when you do invest, you realize that you're surrounded by growth and opportunity. It's just this particular core was, in many cases, redlined or had major disinvestment happening many years ago. Now it's an opportunity to come back while these properties have depreciated to reinvest and revitalize these areas. And so when I talk about major thoroughfares, Jacksonville, of course, is at the intersection of I-95 to the north and south of the East Coast, and I-10 going west to California to the Florida coast. And it is the only city where these two major roads intersect. So traffic is coming from multiple points of origin, making Jacksonville the supernova designation by the Urban Land Institute. And so that means that we are currently experiencing rapid economic growth and investments in Jacksonville. We remain the 10th most populated city in the US, but we're also the largest city by geographic space. When we talk about impact investments and the need for them to be centrally located so that and adjacent to other commercial corridors, we're saying this because the investment has the greatest opportunity to give you as an investor a positive return. And so for LaVilla, what we know is that it is on a main street, Broad Street, with 6,800 cars driving through Broad Street daily. We also know that it is across from the federal courthouse, Duval Courthouse, which has 1.1 million visitors every single month. And we're also walking distance from all of the major downtown, many of the major downtown attractions. We're not exactly walking distance to Everbank Stadium. It's 1.6 miles, but you can definitely experience the commingling of events happening at Everbank trickle across to LaVilla. And so those major destination points for tourism, for activities, for events include the Prime Osborne Convention Center. We have proximity to two historic parks, James Well Johnson Park and Lift Every Voice and Sing Park. We are on the route of the Emerald Trail, which is happening in downtown Jacksonville to connect all of the major neighborhoods. So you'll not only have tourists coming in, but you'll also have neighborhood residents coming into LaVilla, following these trails, biking on these trails, navigating these trails to bring back wellness and work-life balance to their neighborhoods, to our communities. Jacksonville currently has more than $1 billion of investments happening in LaVilla specifically. And this is happening because, again, when you talk about impact investments, the prices are affordable currently. They're going up very quickly. There's enough land from, again, disinvestment where buildings were torn down, there are vacant lots. But within the past 5 years, there has been significant financial investment happening in LaVilla. And so we already have finished out and built 91 new townhomes, 130 rental apartments, totaling over 100 million in new investments. But also coming down is the Pearl Street District, which is a $2 billion project. The Jacksonville Transportation Authority recently closed on its $57 million building, and they were very intentional about co-branding it the Jacksonville Transportation Authority at LaVilla. And of course, the most recent announcement is the University of Florida is bringing a downtown graduate campus to LaVilla. So by 2028, in just 3 years, LaVilla is going to have a new landscape, unrecognizable landscape. And while those major developers are involved and engaged in moving the needle in LaVilla, there is also an opportunity for individuals, private owners, we call them small developers, small independent developers, to have an opportunity to have some stake and some equity in that area. When you talk about impact investing, the key principles that must be in alignment are intentionality, that there's a clear commitment to positive impact, that it's measurable, that impact, whether it's through job creation, economic development in terms of dollars, project costs, et cetera. The financial return can be starting at below market and then bringing it to market rate, which is what our intention is with LaVilla. And the investments themselves must drive real, positive, distinguished change. And so what does that look like in terms of the new LaVilla. Why does this matter? Is that we are at the cornerstone of a growing downtown neighborhood that is coming back to life, that is experiencing significant investment. And individual private investors have the opportunity to be a part of this new major destination that's happening, that also wraps itself in history and wraps itself into making a significant change in our community. Now, LaVilla makes the mark when we talk about why social investing is different. Examples listed here include affordable housing, historic preservation, community education, entrepreneurship centers, which the new LaVilla will be a entrepreneurship center and co-working space. And we have partnered with a contractor who is green certified. So we understand the value of making sure that when we come back with new investment, that we are conscious about how to incorporate sustainable building and sustainable features within the space. LaVilla is an ideal impact investment because we have deep cultural significance. LaVilla used to be a major commercial corridor. More than 500 businesses were located within this district, as well as beautiful residential homes. We also understand that it was the former Harlem of the South, where jazz was first sung publicly on a stage. Most of the jazz greats that moved to Harlem, continued there. So when you think about LaVilla, and its reference as the Harlem of the South, some people refer to Harlem as the LaVilla of the North. And there's a rich story and a rich history surrounding all of that. So we do have a clear community need. There is a growing demand for what we're converting this space into, and it will have significant job creation and economic impact in the area. You now have an opportunity to be part of this. And so when we talk about the Entrepreneurship Center, we're talking about weaving back into the district and downtown Jacksonville the important cultural aspects that have been lost when that community was stripped and erased, so that we also had the I-95 thoroughfare coming through it. Residents were relocated, but now we can bring that culture and that history back and align it with individuals who are moving into Jacksonville and keeping that tradition and the preservation that surrounds it intact. So when we think about the impact of the new LaVilla, we're looking at job creation. We're looking at launching new businesses through the Entrepreneurship Center. We're talking about building new community wealth that was lost. We're talking about restoring a historic landmark and preserving historic assets. We are stopping the tear downs. That is our mission. That is our motto, is that we want to save our historic buildings one at a time. And so this is not the end by any means. This is the beginning of a national movement. And we're also, increasing foot traffic, increasing, again, that work-life balance. So LaVilla within itself will offer those cultural and work-life wellness activities, and that's a distinguishing ideal customer profile that we're building out. The reason that you all can think about this as a project that is worth your time and is worth your worth your dollars is that you will have a equity ownership in this building, and it is not going away. Again, we had it historically landmarked so that we could preserve this building and make sure that the investors had a stake in this asset, and that the community could come back to appreciate and see and experience what this asset looks like, and also the cultural elements that we're going to incorporate back into it. So it aligns your capital infusion with your personal and institutional values. You know, that is what impact investing is about, is that you care about the value of this building, the value of the community, and the value behind um, the entire scope of people, community, and preservation. We support, you know, the goal to serve underserved communities, to be economically inclusive. So the outcome is that yes, we want to be a part of the $1 billion to $2 billion investments. We're just as relevant and just as important when it comes to making contributions to the economy as those other larger developers and those projects. And so this is about, again, long-term sustainability, creating this historic landmark and making sure that the tear downs are stopped and that we are a purpose-driven marketplace that celebrates our reemergence. Additionally, the financial returns, because you have equity in the building, um, and it's a commercial asset, is that you have less volatility. You know, the diversification in terms of the operating structure, it has multiple revenue streams. So there are opportunities for uh, companies, entrepreneurs, retail spaces, again, the lodging unit, and the event space for different types of businesses and different types of individuals to enjoy and celebrate in that space. We have a mission-driven intention. Our mission-driven intention is to restore and reinvest in our historic landmarks, one building at a time. And we have the community support. We're continuing to build that and to let people know who we are and to, again, celebrate and align ourselves with some of the other cultural activities that are happening. The Melanin Market, the Jazz Festival, and aligning with the local jazz clubs and jazz groups because they remember when LaVilla was the center of jazz and heritage. And they're still here. We want to be the hub for everyone to come in and celebrate. The other thing is that there are tax incentives that are involved with community investing. There are new market tax credits. There are empowerment zone funds. We are in a hub zone area. So all of those tax incentives will definitely offer a return for your investment, but also for the members of the facility. So this is a rendering of what we see as the future of the building once it's fully built out. So the new LaVilla is the image on the top left-hand side with the murals on the wall. The mural on the wall is going to be such an impressive activity because we intend to get approval to put a mural on that wall of Buffalo soldiers. Um, you know, again, the founding members in 1866, 35 Buffalo soldiers founded LaVilla, and we want people to come and see this mural, to celebrate this mural, to you know, we want this to be a destination point so that when they're using the Emerald Trail, they're bicycling up, walking up to take pictures beside this mural. And of course, that attention will drive traffic. The Emerald Trail will wrap around the building, so it will come from both sides, the traffic that's coming in from the trail. You also have down in the bottom left-hand corner an image of the front lawn of the courthouse. So this 3-acre lawn in front of the courthouse will be turned into an urban park. So again, we are in the perfect location for economic growth. Your investment will be well spent when you think about how you can leverage your resources, your assets, your capital to make a significant impact on the redevelopment of LaVilla and bringing back this historic neighborhood and community in downtown Jacksonville. So I wanted to show some images of the future of the inside of the building. So this is a 6,300 mixed use property. Again, we're going to have opportunities for multiple types of businesses to be inside this space. Again, it's an entrepreneurship center and co-working space. And so we need coffee, we need a major tenant upstairs, an anchor tenant. We're looking at a legal firm. We're looking at an education institution because, again, we're right across from the courthouse. We are looking at the event spaces to cater to weddings and events that are happening when people get married at the courthouse. And then downstairs, we want this to be where businesses can come, plug in their laptop, and spend the day, so that we're bringing back those 500 businesses that were dispersed and when buildings were demolished. We're bringing them back, inviting them back to the new LaVilla. The inside rendering here just shows some of the work in progress that we've accomplished thus far. The red markings is to incorporate code recommendations from the fire department to create a firewall for the residential unit. The residential unit is giving homage to the Will Hotel. Formerly, it housed, down the street is the Old Stanton High School. One of the tenants in the Will Hotel was one of the teachers at Stanton High School. Cuban immigrants were staying there at one point. And so people came in and out of the Will Hotel as their destination, as their point of rest once they reached their destination. And so we wanted to memorialize that for our members. So again, our business model and market strategy here is to make this a revenue generating, economically viable facility that is there for years to come, that is in alignment with the other development that is happening in the area, where those 100 townhome tenants can come in the morning, have their coffee, where the individuals who are biking and walking on the Emerald Trail and are coming from different neighborhoods that are connected, all of them are connected to LaVilla, can stop and shop in the retail shop, which is a gift shop that will celebrate some of the themes and images and memorabilia for the new LaVilla. We are excited about this opportunity, and we want you to be excited about it as well. So we are currently in a raise to complete the build out. This illustration is based on what your return can potentially be. And this is, again, a scenario and an illustration because we can't guarantee what that return will be. But again, when you think about what's happening in LaVilla and the investments and the cash infusion that's bringing back these structures, these new developments, we understand that there's going to be a positive impact in this area. And so this return shows a 25% return on your investment across 4 levels of investment. If you want more information, the website is thenewlavilla.com. All of the information that you need is there. We're currently raising on investor.com. That campaign ends December 31st of this year. And we're just excited that we have put ourselves in a position to really do something significant and something exciting for not only Jacksonville, but for other cities around the country that are seeking individual value-based investors who understand the importance of saving these spaces. So thank you so much for this time. Please go to our YouTube page. Please go to thenewlavilla.com. You can also follow the New LaVilla on LinkedIn. We will have 3 additional webinars left for December. We will not have one December 8th. We will have an education information webinar on the 15th and I believe on the 22nd, but Mondays at 7 o'clock. I will be traveling, talking to investors next week. So I hope to bring back a lot of good news about this amazing project. And I hope that you will join us and become part of a positive, encouraging community movement that will only give you exponential return on investment in the future. Thank you so much. I am Valicia Dunbar, Dr. V. I am the uh, owner of the new LaVilla, and hopefully soon to be one of many owners of the new LaVilla. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful, wonderful day.